I think you'll find valuable and useful. It is, how do I discern the difference between my own thoughts and my own stuff and what's going on with whoever I'm trying to channel? So for this talk today, I'm just going to basically make it specific to spirit guides, because we can channel all sorts of things. We can channel our soul, our higher self. We can channel other people's spirit guides, other people's ancestors or family members, called mediumship, all sorts of cool things, sprites, fairies, dragons, angels, on and on and on, all sorts of wonderful, amazing things. But for this talk today, I'm just going to focus on, how do I know the difference between who I'm channeling and what I'm channeling, or is it my own stuff? And this is the number one thing that students come to me that they struggle with, that I help them to overcome. And it is a process. I'm not going to lie. Like, I'm not going to sugarcoat it and think, oh, you just do this one thing and it's easily solved. So some of the things, first of all, before we get too far, is that most of us, from my experience, most of us have somewhere between 3 to 5 spirit guides during any one season of our life. And each spirit guide helps us in a different area of our life. And so how do we discern the difference? How do we know, which guide we're communicating with, or is it even our own stuff? But let's just start with one spirit guide. So one of the processes I take my students through is, what they do is they invite one spirit guide to come forward. Okay. And then you feel around you and you go, okay, where is this guide physically around me in my room? And the reason I ask you to do that is because when you can physically find out where they are in your room, it gives you a focal point, a way to focus on them, rather than your mind just being wandering, scattered everywhere. And so, back when I started doing this in the early 2000s, they didn't have the technology that they have now. Now they have really cool technology called Kirlian photography, where they can actually capture your spirit guides on camera, and other technologies. You might have seen them on like these ghost hunter kind of shows and things like that. So what you do experience, where they are physically around you, they are real. We finally have technology that can capture them. So let's hypothetically say, for example, you're sitting there, you sit quiet, you take a deep breath, you reset yourself, you start fresh, and then you notice your spirit guide is, let's say, on this side of you. Okay, so you feel their presence, you go in deep. Okay, how do I know the spirit guide is on this side of me? How can I tell they're on, here and not somewhere else? And how would I describe their presence? How would I describe, their personality, their characteristics, their skills, all that kind of stuff. So we can get into all that. That's a whole entire, I have, beginner stuff on that, very advanced stuff on that. So now the question becomes, okay, let's say this guide here is trying to give me messages. How do I know if what I'm getting is just my own stuff, or if it's actually legitimately coming from my spirit guides? Okay, so a technique that I've developed with my students, and you're more than welcome to try this. Please do. I want you to. That's how I teach my students. I want to empower them to be able to do it with you, like by yourself. Okay, so I want you to be able to do it. I do agree there is formal training, like where you actually, are walk through these different processes until you really get really good at it. But I want you to try this in the meantime. So you feel into your guide again. Let's say in this example, your spirit guide is here. Okay, so now what I do is there's a bunch of different ways that we can receive information from our guides. And let's say, for example, you focus on this guide here right now. Okay, how are they presenting themselves? Are they tall? Are they short? Are they skinny? Are they heavy set? And start to get visuals of how they're presenting themselves as a person. Okay, and then after you do that, then you go, okay, now so that's called clairvoyant. What am I seeing in my mind's eye? And then another thing that you can do is clairaudience. So what are you hearing? So when you hear your voice speak, your spirit guide speak to you, how does their voice sound? Is it high pitched? Is it low pitched? Is it monotone? Does it have an inflection in the voice? Do they speak quickly? Do they speak slowly? Do they speak more firm and direct, or is it more like soft and kind and compassion, things like that? And then what you do, and a really cool trick that I do with my students, I go, okay, now focus on your thoughts. And how do your thoughts sound? Listen to your thoughts for a moment. Just take a moment. Do they sound calm, relaxed? Are they scattered? Are they sporadic? Are they kind of like all over the place? Are they, jumbled? Are they like, do they have more abrasiveness and more aggression, or more just, critical or whatever, and on and on and on? And then what you do is you start to go, okay, well, if these are my thoughts and that's how my thoughts sound, and then when I focus on my spirit guide, this is how his voice or her voice sounds. I could totally tell the difference. And then as you practice, you can be able to widen that gap. You can discern the difference. Oh, I definitely know it's my spirit guide because their voice sounds like this, whereas my thoughts sound like this. And then let's say you invite another spirit guide to come in and it's a totally different guide. Well, how is their voice different than this guide? How is their voice different than your own thoughts? And you start to dissect and go into detail. Do they speak quickly? Do they speak slowly? Do they speak monotone or more inflection in their voice? Are they more direct? Are they more ethereal, like more softer, compassion? How is their voice different than this guy? How is their voice different than my own thoughts? And then you can go into different, so that's clairaudient. And then you could go into clairsentient, which is feelings and emotions. How does this spirit guide feel? What messages are they giving me through their emotions? And how does this guide communicate to me through clairsentient, which is different than my own feelings in my own body? And then how does this other spirit guide, how do they feel totally different? And what are their emotions like? And how can I discern and dissect and interpret their emotions into a message, which are totally different than my own emotions? Yes, this takes practice. Yes, this is like all part of learning to channel. And as you're taken through very specific, curriculum and exercises over and over in different aspects, different ways or different respects, different ways to do these different exercises, you get better and better and better. If you would like to learn more and how to really excel in channeling, because in my opinion, channeling is the foundation to all spirituality. And please visit my website, channelinginc.com. You can see it there. And if you have any questions, comments, feel free to message me. And I have all sorts of formal training. So if you'd like to learn more, go visit my website. My name is Ken Lewicki. Have a wonderful day.